Yo, what up, everybody? This is episode 5 of the Colorado Skate Podcast. We have Julian Christianson. We took a few weeks off over the holiday. Glad to have get back on the right foot at the beginning of the year. Got a pretty special guest, so we're excited to chat it up and learn a little bit about Julian today.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Yeah. So, how's it going
Yeah.
generally? Just everything. How's it going? What's going on with you right now?
I mean, I have three kids, always working, making sure that everything's taken care of for them. Um, you know, Legos on the weekend, kids movies, cartoons.
How
Um,
old are your kids?
15, 11, and 6.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, my oldest already in high school,
That's wild. Yeah,
freshman.
he's getting his learner's permit,
Yeah.
driver's permit, or anything like that.
Yeah, I let him drive around in the parking lot before, but yeah, we'll see. It's gotta, that's a privilege. You don't just get to drive. You gotta earn it. So
Definitely.
work on that. Being a teenager again.
Yeah.
So
What's that like
yeah,
raising a teenager in these times, bro? Especially being so young.
man, it's definitely not easy. But yeah, I think it goes on every generation where you're like, your parents worry about you, but then you also have some extra things, and because of like the times like evolving and getting more technological, or things are getting easier to like have, like when I was in high school we didn't have phones with social media. We
No.
had flip phones that you'd text by pressing the number so many times to get the letter, like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just the whole different aspect, like with all the kids now, like they all want phones, and then the drama that happens with the kids at school, and you know guns, of course, all that, fights at school,
What what's
always something.
what school's it going
So
to?
he's going to George Washington.
Oh, GW. My brothers went to GW.
Yeah, I actually went there too. I went to East and George.
Okay.
East freshman, sophomore year, and then I started taking a class at CEC.
As
You
I went
know,
to preschool at CEC.
oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a little program
Right.
through there too. So I took like photography, audio engineering, and all that. While I was going back and forth from East, and then transferred to George. Um, because of the same thing, like some kid always almost had a fight in gym. They switched me out of gym class, and then ended up just deciding to go to George the next year because I had skater homies that went over there, and I was like, all right.
Who went to George with you?
Um, there was like Roberto Duhaney, Ryan, Jaime, um, bunch of people. The student A, uh, you know, it's Kyle Smith went there for a little bit. You remember Kyle?
I don't think so.
Always down at Deep Park. He's Norwegian too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we always talked about going out there, but yeah, it's kind of funny. And but yeah, sometimes like you're just like, all right, new skaters. Like I kind of met them before, met more there, and then you're like, oh, someone new comes the next year. Fernando went there. Um, yeah, it's hard to remember sometimes
Yeah.
because I was there 2 years, over at George a couple years. Like I went to school at George with Whitney's cousin. I think Whitney ended up graduating like the year as a freshman. He was a senior or something like that. Uh, but yeah, his cousin Miles,
You see Whitney around
a
ever
couple other
lately?
like brickyard skate crew, like random homies that lived in the Congress Park area.
Okay.
Yeah, like Danny and Lanny, a bunch of random people. But that's just kind of like how it is with all the skating. Like you're always meeting random skaters that
For
you
sure.
never knew lived in that area. You're like, oh,
Do you keep up with any of them?
no. I mean, some of them actually, yeah. I mean, I see Roberto Duhaney all the time. Random events. Couple people I know people that know of them and like hear about them, see how they're doing. But yeah, I mean, someone's in jail. There's always something.
Yeah, definitely.
Just life.
Yeah,
So
skaters get pretty eclectic and involved in all kinds of different shit
yeah,
when you start getting old.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, for the most part, I see people at the park, say what's up, catch up a little bit. But I'm not like super close with everyone from back in high school days.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just,
It's hard to be.
so many people too with skating. But
And so you have two other kids,
Yep.
the boy, all
Yeah,
girl.
Isaiah's in high school, and then Lovely's in middle school, sixth grade, and then Soul is six.
Okay.
He's in first grade.
And it's all same baby mama or
No, my oldest son has a different mom.
okay.
Didn't quite work out, and then I was with my other kid's mom for about 8 years, and then
Uh-huh.
we divorced. So, you know,
Just moving on.
doing yeah, just got to move on. Um, you know,
And what are your kids?
what,
What are your
what
kids into? Like, what do they like doing?
all kinds of stuff. My oldest son, he likes to play video games, of course,
Yeah.
some Fortnite stuff.
Okay.
Was kind of playing GTA recently.
Uh.
uh, he was playing soccer for a while, but then kind of decided against it. I think just doesn't have, I guess, the passion for it, or just I don't know what's going on. Just out of nowhere wanted to stop. But and then my daughter was doing a little volleyball recently. She likes to draw, big reader. Soul, he's kind of I got him in a b-boy class on Saturdays.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of funny. He gets down. His soul, like his name fits him. As a b-boy, it's kind of cool, and he's real wild, jumping around. Um, yeah, man. I mean, kids are always kind of picking up something new.
Definitely.
Like from the Pokemon cards, Legos. Oh, now I just want to play board games or, watch YouTubers, listen to video gamers,
Yeah.
all that, the new generation stuff. But
Yeah. And then you grew up playing soccer, didn't you?
yeah, I played for Congress Park over there off of 8th and York
How long did you do that for?
since like kindergarten till about 8th grade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I played for Congress Park. We beat City Park in like the final for our division
Uh-huh.
one year. And yeah, I played a little bit of competitive through them. And then about 7th grade stopped because my mom's car kind of broke down. So I didn't play a season and I'd already started skating. So
Oh,
then just kind of kept skating.
transition.
Yeah.
Do you think that playing soccer like helped you with like your
Oh,
skating at
yeah.
all? Just like foot control
Oh
and
yeah, just from even discipline of having lessons more often, showing up and just like actually getting to know your teammates, how do you actually play together? How does everyone, react in certain circumstances with people? Like you could see it. Like and I played soccer, but I was just kind of I loved playing sports as like a kid would. Love playing games. So I'd play basketball, football, soccer in gym class and do fairly well with all of it. But yeah, soccer, my mom got me in that. I was on a team and, played for years with them. Just, I actually almost went to this camp in Sweden for 2 weeks, but like I was picked with one other kid on our team to write a letter to send it out because they would have like some 2 week long camp for random kids at overseas. And yeah, ended up not working out, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. That's how I got into skating is actually through one of the kids on the soccer team, and then also seeing the X Games on TV. But kid on the team brought his board to the practice, and I was like, "Oh, how do you ollie? Show me how you did that," and I had actually already met David Reyes living in the same area
what
off
where
of
what where'd you go?
14th and Federal over there,
Okay.
like Federal
Dang.
Heights.
That's like exactly
Yeah,
where I grew
Avondale
up.
Drive.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up
Yeah,
till I moved to Arvada in 1992 from 23rd and Federal,
so
right by the car wash right there.
mhm.
So I guess we're like neighbors. If I would have stayed there, it probably would have been maybe probably pretty tight back then.
Yeah, I moved away from there when I was like 14 to when
Okay.
I was born in '89. So do the math, but I was like 2002, I think,
Okay. Where'd you move to?
something. But yeah, or 2000, moved down to the east side, like York and 32nd area,
Oh,
Martin Luther
okay.
King in York, and
Okay.
then lived there a year, and then moved to where I'm at now, off of 14th, like Colorado area.
Okay.
But yeah,
And so your homie gave you
over there by Gove Middle School. Used to
okay,
go to
okay.
Gove and Hill.
And so your homie gave
So
you that skateboard
yeah.
and then what happened?
Well, he showed me how to do it. Tried the ollie on grass a little bit. Kind of got close. You lift the front truck up a little bit, but you know, I had already kind of seen it on TV and seen some stuff, and I was like, oh, I've always wanted to try that. I had a board, but it was like a cheap Target board, the
Yeah.
first board that I got, and
Uh-huh.
so when I went home and I was trying to write on it, I think someone else had showed me is probably David Reyes actually was telling me a little bit more about skate shops and everything, and ended up kind of asking my mom for a different board for my birthday.
Uh-huh.
She took me to BC Surf and Sports down at Tivoli.
Okay.
Got a hookups board,
Okay.
anime chick holding like a giant nurse,
Uh-huh.
giant needle,
Oh, okay, I remember
you
that
know.
one.
Yeah, and then some like independent trucks, quickies bearings, and some black wheels that ended up getting like air bubbles in them.
Oh
You
no.
remember those? It
Uh,
was just like older wheels, like when you had them so long, it would like rip up, and there was like actually an air bubble would
oh,
start to form as it got thinner in
I
a way.
think I think I remember that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
or at least like soft, like
But it was just like
things like that.
just the generic wheels or whatever, just
Yeah,
the plain black
exactly.
wheels that are just no
Yeah,
good.
yeah, back in like 99,
And then
97 or something.
from there, like when you first started, what kind of like preferences, like board preferences, did you kind of like develop like
Um,
early on?
I just kind of skated wherever when I was a little kid because sometimes other people give you hand-me-downs, and be at the skate park and someone was like, "Oh, you rip," and like I had this one guy that ended up giving me like a couple boards with the trucks, like some Fury trucks,
Oh, okay.
element boards. But yeah, so back then I didn't really like care too much about the size,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it wasn't like too big,
Right.
because then it felt all big. But back then I feel like boards were more small. People rode 7.5s,
Yeah, that was
so
the
that was
thing.
like my earliest, like when I was like, oh, I need 7.5s, I need to ride more 7.5s, flip tricks. Um, yeah, and then wheels, like same thing,
Just
kind
whatever
of
you.
fluctuate for a while, and then you're like, all right, 52s is where it's at. Rode 52s for a while. Lately, I've been on 54s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you're a kid, I feel like you just kind of you just want to try everything, right? You're just like, oh, these look cool, this looks
yeah,
sick, and you
exactly.
just like always want to get new gear and just
Yeah,
use whatever you could find.
yeah, especially when you're not sponsored too. You're just like, you kind of have that choice, and get to explore it a lot more. But yeah,
And then what were you skating at in those early years?
around that area, like over there off of 14th and Federal, where that, what was it? It was like a Mexican market,
Okay.
right there with
The Avanza or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly,
And there's like
Avanza.
got like
Yep,
the little
yep,
banks in the back.
exactly. Yep. Used to go in there and buy a lot of like Arizona iced teas,
Okay.
back in the day. But yeah, those loading docks,
Yeah.
start on the smaller one and then do the big one. And then they had repaved the alley and made it smoother, made like it was like more of a permanent gap.
Okay.
But yeah, so I skated there a lot in the neighborhood. I mean, I actually skated all the way to D Park from there
Dang, that's
when it
a
first was opening. Like my mom would already drive that way to avoid traffic by Denver, but back when the street was, you know, like the, what is it, 19th, right there by 20th,
uh-huh.
the corner, the street used to go up and come back like this,
Uh-huh.
and there used to be uh like that old Mad Catz building there, on that side of Denver.
Uh-huh.
So before they had built that street on that side of Mad Catz, it was like, the street just went up and it was like a dirt lot all the way,
Right. It was just all
you know?
warehouses and dirt and it
Yeah.
was like real shitty back then. There
Yeah.
was
So
nothing.
then they tore that, or they moved the street over here and then they tore the building down and they built the rest of the skate park.
Right.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah, those early Denver days were
Yeah.
crazy. Did you go to
So I
the
was skating everywhere in between there, and then I would take the bus places over the years, like out to Aurora, because I had moved over to the east side from Federal to go because my mom started working at the airport
Okay.
and
What was she
wanted to
doing?
be closer,
What was she doing there?
but just working United Airlines, bunch of different stuff, help desk.
She still do that or
They kind of move you around to different posts, lost and found, and but yeah, she's still there.
oh, that's good.
Been there 20 plus years. And
You get like free tickets and
yeah,
shit still or
I mean, I did for some time when I
uh-huh.
was younger. Yeah, helped me get to some contests, for
Yeah.
sure.
Were you there at the grand opening of D Park?
Um,
Like that opening
yeah,
night?
actually, yeah,
You remember that? That was
yeah, it was a
crazy.
crazy
It
day.
was like packed. There was like
There's,
nowhere to skate.
yeah,
It was insane.
yeah,
That was the
yeah, like even
wildest.
more than it gets packed these days.
It
It was
was
like there was a contest that day or
it was
something.
it was I remember they had like the gazebo was full of people, and then there's the big long ledge, and then
Yeah,
there's just that bank, and I think that was the only thing that I remember being skatable. Everything else was just mob full of people
yeah,
just standing like just looking at the skate park. It was insane.
yeah.
That was
And that's
crazy.
even like when the building was still there. And the other part hadn't even been built yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
good
wild.
times
Yeah,
though. I remember
definitely.
launching over the fence too before they had built the other side. There was like you can land in the dirt,
Yeah, you land in the
and like
dirt.
yeah, a bunch of the older dudes were ramping over that. But then within that time span of like 3 years, I got good enough to ollie over it, and then they tore everything down and put the new park.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was wild progression of that park. I'm surprised it's still there.
All the fights and
Yeah, just
drama,
yeah, all the
fireworks on 4th of July.
yeah, just all the crazy shenanigans.
I used to go to Deep Park from like 7 in the morning for like 7 hours a day to skate.
Yeah,
Like it was a work shift, like,
yeah,
and then skate downtown, skate a street spot, get some food, some Taco Bell or something,
yeah.
and then head back to the park.
Yeah, it was good times. That was like the best time skating when you're a kid and you just don't have
Mm,
any responsibilities or anything to worry
yeah.
about. You can just cruise around, you know?
Yeah. And I definitely had like some time. Like I had to be home a certain time and but as long as I was with, a group of friends and like someone was a little bit older. I remember having like an older homie that was um 2 years older than his brother, or a few years older than his brother, and we would all go skate together. And because he was 4 years older, like my mom's like, "Oh, okay, I trust him," and
Yeah,
met his parents, all that.
yeah,
So that definitely helped to get around too and be able to skate a bunch of different spots, like going to the park enough days to where you're like meeting kids from other states or pros, getting there on those like days where they would just randomly be there. You're
yeah.
like, oh, you know, but
And how fast was like your progression, like your skate skills? Or did you start out and just did it take you a long time to start getting comfortable or start learning stuff, or did you kind of start getting good really fast?
I mean, I definitely feel like I progressed kind of fast. I started with like doing tic tacs and you know, like
Little
tornadoes, I would
chicken
call them,
walks or
just going in
whatever.
circles.
Uh,
Yeah, just tick, 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 everywhere. Or I called them penguin walks when I'm
uh,
teaching lessons to kids,
uh,
like, wah, wah, wah. But yeah, so I started doing that a lot and then learned how to ollie because of uh, one of the neighbors, like within the apartment complex off of by Avanza. They like changed into the Overlook after over a few years, and now there's something else, um, Federal Heights or something like that. But there's so many people over there, and this dude that rode BMX also skated and lived right next to David and was teaching him how to ollie and stuff. And then, David came and showed me, look, I know how to ollie, and we were like measuring, like, oh, he got this high, like laying on the ground,
laying
like,
on the ground.
we had this little like curb bump
Uh,
and like parking blocks that we'd skate all the time, but that's like where we learned how to ollie, like to try to get air off of the bump. We're like, oh,
yeah.
so like as we barely can ollie, then we're trying to do it off of a bump to like get a little bit of boost off of it, and so then he had told me kind of like more about skate shops, and I mean, got the first board. I think I was doing ollies within a couple weeks, and then kick flips like within a year.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
that's really fast then.
yeah, or but they weren't like the best.
Yeah.
Tumbling on the ground, like barely get it around. Um, but yeah, got my first board at 8 birthday. Ninth birthday is when I got the brand new board, and kickflips within a year and a half or so, and then 3 years and I learned nollie hill and switch hill.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it was in the winter. I had actually learned heel flip before kick flip,
Uh-huh.
but like I actually went to show Angel and David, and we were skating to this, up like Dollar Tree,
Okay.
the one of the little spots at Federal, and I was like, look, I learned how to heel flip, and I couldn't land it.
Uh-huh.
And then we started to skate over there to the spot, and I tried to do the kickflip. I'm like, I could do it. I know I can.
Uh-huh.
Like, because when you just learn it, sometimes you can't really do it in front of people,
Right.
like the first
For
try,
sure.
And then I'm like, all right. And I did one, and I landed in manual and kind of like went up for a whole block. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
and then put it down like the whole, from crack to
oh
crack.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
the
yeah.
man,
Uh-huh.
it was just kind of funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And so you grew up skating
Yeah.
with Dave Angel.
Yeah. Bunch of friends over there, homie Cliff and Rain that I mentioned earlier, brothers. And then, I mean, so many people. Mita, R.I.P.
Oh yeah,
You know, he
yeah.
lived over there. He actually was better than me and David at the time.
Oh really?
And I think it was before I met Angel, I met him, and he was already doing like really good kickflips, wearing like S shoes and shit.
The
Yeah,
Mita
you
front
know,
nose slide.
yeah, varial heels, you
Uh-huh.
know, but yeah, man.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a few people that like disappear over time, you know, that start skating and quit. Like actually one guy who's ended up being a professional soccer player, Roger Espinoza. I taught him how to ollie and he ollied really high,
Uh-huh.
but he had just moved from Honduras, so he
Okay.
didn't really speak much English
Uh-huh.
and had to learn and like lived like one door over from me.
Uh-huh.
And me and him would skate for like a few years and he was kind of getting good too. But I mean, me and David, we also used to make ramps and ride off them with our bikes, like
Uh-huh.
little dirt ramps, put some wood down on the dirt and then ramp to another ramp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was way better at it than I was. Like, I was too little to bunny hop as a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm like going off a ramp and I like clip. I'm like, oh, eat shit. And
And
it's not like on a skateboard, you can jump off away from the board, but
and so back then you guys are just young kids, like you don't have cell phones. Like did you guys like call each other's house and be like, "Can I talk to Dave?" Or do you guys just
yeah,
wander meet
probably. I
up and
think we
shit
probably
or
just went over to each other's house, but
uh
we definitely use a phone at some point. But there's like I had friends on my on that side of town when I was living on Federal, but I had a lot of other family like at different places, or you know, you just happen to meet another friend at the skate park, but then they live somewhere else, so then you would go and stay the night at their house, skate another park. Um, you know, like Trent back in the day stayed at Trent's house. You know, JJ McCracken,
oh yeah, I remember.
RIP.
Yeah, for sure.
Just so many different people out in Aurora, like all the DTS homies.
Uh-huh.
Andrew Smith stayed at his house a ton of times, you know, and then go skate out there and film.
Yeah.
Brian Bell before he moved out to Cali. Cody Schultz, Tristan. Tristan was a little bit older, didn't really like stay at his house, but you know, meet at his house and fingerboard or play skate 3 and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then so
all around town.
at what point did you feel like you wanted to like really you could like do something with it with skateboarding?
I mean, early on, like after learning kickflips, I was like saying, like, you know, how you're with the kid, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go pro at this age, 16, and this and that. Like, probably at like 12 or 13, you know, after I learned how to kickflip, saw like X Games, realized you can get sponsored. And then David got sponsored by, I think he was getting flowed through Zoomies, like, or something there. And then another shop. I just, my memory, like, I don't know too much of everything back then, but I just remember him getting the sponsor first and kind of meeting some other older skaters like Angel. Um, I'm so bad with names sometimes. Mark Spencer, filmer.
Yeah, because that's when they're like
Yeah,
filming for Retina, and
yeah,
both of them
exactly.
had a little part in there.
Yeah, so
And you did you
303 pretty early on.
and you were skating with the whole time. You weren't in Retina. You didn't have any tricks in
No,
there.
I didn't get on 303 till years later.
You
Yeah,
way
like,
later, like
yeah, like,
10
yeah, it was
years
like
later.
2006, I want to
Yeah,
say, or 2005.
right.
Yeah, yeah, because for a while I was getting thrifty stick until I was like 16 or something,
Oh, really?
17. It was like from 14 to 16, I want to say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was like one of my first skate shop sponsor.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That was a
and that's
weird little
how,
shop. Did you
yeah,
know
definitely.
you like got to know like the owners and stuff or
Yeah, Brian and Kendra, they're, you know, they're cool. They ended up getting divorced over the years, and
uh
Kendra continued and did the other shop up street, you know.
which one was that?
Um, 720, right?
There's Diabolical?
Or right there off Broadway, South Broadway.
I don't know. I know there's
Yeah.
is it still around? 720 is still around, right?
No, I think there's still a shop there, but I think they changed the name.
Oh, okay.
I'm just,
I'm out
yeah,
of it.
I'm like, yeah, but it used to be there, like TS was there on South Broadway, and then
Right.
they had one in Aurora, and you know, and so they had a few locations, and then also sold snowboard stuff similar to 303, and you know, all skate shops for the most part out here.
Right.
But yeah, for some years, like rode for them, got hooked up, got on S through TS, like won the Mountain Dew Free Flow Tour when I was on TS.
What year was that?
Um, it was like 2004.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that was at Denver Park?
2004. Yeah. Got first place, went to the finals. My mom had to go with me out to Encinitas. I think, yeah, the like old school like Tony Hawk. Kurt Ramp is
Oh,
there,
okay,
you
okay.
know, and they've changed it now. I think since then it's been remodeled, but yeah, a long time ago, like Manny Santiago actually won it that year.
Oh, dang.
That was like my first ever experience of like flying to another state, competing, and
How
then
did you do in that comp?
I mean, not that good at all. I like didn't even make the finals, like or the like out of qualifying.
Oh, really?
Skated once. I remember Riley Hawk was there too,
Oh, yeah.
and he was younger than me,
Oh,
but
okay.
still did better in like advanced,
Uh-huh.
you know. And then I think he was like 2 years younger than me, like 12, and I was 14. But yeah, didn't make it through, but just had fun. You're at this contest, skating a random park in California. Meeting all these other skaters. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then I went to another one like the next year for Globe Wildcard Series
Okay.
and in Boulder.
Okay.
Skated that park.
The old Boulder Park?
Yeah.
That park's hard to skate.
It's weird. It's different.
Uh-huh.
It's almost not like it's built for skateboarding at
No.
all.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, I ended up getting third in that, went to the final, made it to like the semifinal of that one, and that was also in somewhere in California, Southern California.
And what was your first contest that you entered? You didn't win the first
It was an airwalk contest at D
Okay.
Park.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And
And
how are you finding out about all these contests?
old
Just
school
through
Ben did like an airwalk in the contest and won.
Dang,
And I got second. And that was my first ever one.
your
And the
first
next
contest you
one
got
was that Mountain
second.
Dew one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the next one I won a Mountain Dew.
Okay, so you got on
Yeah.
Thrifty Stick before you started entering the contests,
Yeah.
and that's how you found out about the
Well,
contests, or
let me see. Was it before? No, actually, I think the first one was Boredom Skate Shop. Um, I was already kind of skating around. I think that's how I met them, like through a couple other skaters, and like I think it was Tristan was the first person I knew that was getting on to Thrifty Stick. Man, it just it's like makes you think. You're like, was it him? But yeah, so I think I had just already entered that one, just being like a little kid always at the park, and then found out about the contest, went to that one, and then got hooked up through like, someone else was like, oh, we're going to skate with the owners of the skate shop. Come with us, and we're gonna skate downtown, and then you'll get sponsored, and ended up just kind of like getting a discount sponsor from them.
uh,
And then about a year later, I ended up getting on Thrifty Stick.
okay.
So
What is that sponsorship
yeah, and
like?
that's like 13, 14 years old.
What were they throwing you? Just like a board a month?
Literally
Or...
gave me wax for free, and then I got
Such a
a
hookup.
discount for the boredom, and then with Thrifty, I was getting a board a month.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
and then they would give me like a shirt or a
Were
hoodie
you
here and there.
were you getting like a
you
shop
know.
decks or
Yeah,
pro
shop
decks?
decks.
Okay.
Yeah, but you would get a discount on Pro Deck. Like I remember buying like a 7.4 size DGK callus board.
Okay.
Yeah, when they first came out, I was like, "Oh, get this DGK board. It's skinnier."
Uh-huh.
And I ended up switch hilling that. What's the 4 block in? I want to say it's North Glen or Arvada,
Oh,
right there at the high school. It's
there's
kind of like skinny runway,
yeah, it is North Glen.
right off
Like
I-25, like Huron.
yeah, Huron and 100 and
Yeah,
100 and
104th.
104th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is
So
that still there?
I think it is still there.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
haven't
you
seen
can
anybody
skate it.
I
There
haven't
might
seen
have.
anybody skate that in a long time.
Yeah, there's some spots up there still on Huron though.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. It's all hilly up there, so there's all
yeah,
kinds of
there's one you ollie onto a ledge and then it's like an 8 stair, and you can ollie onto the rail from the ledge,
okay.
but there's like knobs on the ledge, so you got to be careful.
You gotta trip on it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so you got in you got
yeah.
you so
So I
you just
rode for TS for like 6 or 7 years, I think,
damn.
and then got on 303, um, because of just the changes, like shop stuff, them going out of business. I think kind of was a main reason, but I don't even think I had a shop sponsor for a little while actually,
Uh-huh.
for a few months or so. Uh,
Were you filming it all for 50 Stick?
yeah, we had the TS video.
And
That
those
was like kind of like right. We had DTS video after that.
okay.
That's kind of when that started. But it was mainly a lot of the homies that skated for DTS were also on TS because it was me, Tristan, Brian, Cody Schultz, and then Andrew Smith a little bit later. I met him after Tristan,
Uh-huh.
and Brian. He lived out in Aurora, but so it was really mostly us filming all the time, and then so we did the TS video. But there's a bunch of other skaters in there too.
That was the first video.
VHS days.
That was the first video that you were in.
The first one was a Mile High VSM with this dude Marty and his son Luke who skates. There's like a whole other group of friends branched off of him too. Kind of funny, like a little bit my age, younger generation, because like Cody, uh, Brian Bell, and Tristan, they're a few years older too, and they were kind of like doing like Tristan kickflip back tails, you know, they were more like skating taller ledges.
Uh-huh.
I'll go to spots with them, and I'm like, why did we come to this ledge? You can't skate this, the tallest like loading dock ledge.
Yeah.
I'm like doing a no slide like all the way down. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So a lot of skating with them. We ended up just filming that video. Then a bunch of so TS came out, then DTS, like a little kind of like a mix of like skate park footy and downtown footy, I think, and then decided to make like an actual video. Then did that first DTS video and then HDTS, years later. But did a lot of filming with uh Minthong,
Oh, okay.
with that whole
Yeah.
crazy nonsense.
Yeah, that's
But
wild. I heard
yeah,
only a little bit of stories about that, but that sounds
yeah, he's like Voldemort, he who shall not be named.
right. Yeah, he's definitely there.
But yeah, just crazy. But so I filmed Rad video for 303 with him,
Okay.
which was kind of the early Colfax days.
Uh-huh.
And me and Alex were like Colfax team,
Okay.
kind of separated from 303 Street Trash,
Right, right.
all of that. So uh, yeah, HDTS and then or Rad and then HDTS and then was filming other stuff with them that ended up losing because of all that, just him going to prison.
Yeah,
So
that's so crazy.
probably had a few minutes, but it's crazy because like I bought my first two cars from that dude's parents,
Uh-huh.
like in the Springs, like met his parents and everything. Like,
Uh-huh. And he was
so
like,
unexpected, and he
yeah,
was a decent filmer and a decent skater.
right. And I remember he used to film and he used to get stuff in like transport. He used to like
Yeah,
be
he was with
pretty
like
big.
Autobahn and Joey Brzezinski and Danny Supa filming a bunch of people and moved
Yeah.
out to LA. And yeah, so
Yeah, that's wild.
yeah, and then I broke my arm like filming for the HDTS one though, in like 2011. And I've always been skating a lot of the contests too. So,
And you're pretty good at contests.
like
Like how do you
sometimes I would kind of like not have as much footy as I could have, because I was,
focusing on contests,
contest, family life, whatever, school.
traveling?
But yeah, as a kid, like it's kind of hard sometimes, like getting footy. Sometimes like your filmers like change over, you don't have the same friend that's always available at the same time you are, or but yeah, I just think I probably didn't film that much street parts for a while
Uh-huh.
after, especially like having my son back in 2008. But yeah,
And so like how
it's
do
cool.
you I mean you've been pretty successful, especially like locally in tournament or contests. Like how do you what's your kind of approach? You just practicing go like you got a contest at Denver Park, you go there and practice your like routine, or you just kind of get comfortable at the spot, or like what's your
Yeah.
what's your strategy?
Sorry, my throat's a little dry. Kind of been having some mucus with the winter, but yeah, I mean, it's like with any sport, if you go and practice the trick that you want to learn, you're going to get better at it the more you're doing it, the more often you're doing it, and it's like you don't just learn the trick and then stop at learning it. You're trying to then like make it look good and, maybe pop it higher. You're learning the kickflip so you can learn to kickflip into grinds and downstairs. So it's like the more you're doing it, you're like putting in reps. So I would definitely go there just thinking of it like gym class, like suicide runs, like, you're building up the endurance, you're making yourself stronger. Like the more you kind of like lose your breath and, And, then you realize you're like, all right, I need to drink more water than soda at the skate park, little things like that. But really just mainly just trying to go to the skate park and do as much as I can. Sometimes learning a new trick, like me and Jarrell Roberts, when we learned tray flips, we would go learn it off of the ledge, and we did it like 50 times in a row,
Mm-hmm.
literally without falling, back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because we were there already for the past couple weeks, maybe on like 1 or 2 days a week, where we were practicing tray flips, and then we just start practicing all of our other tricks off of it. Not just no pegs, not just two shoot, not just mid bank, but the little ledge before stepping it up. And so kind of working your way up on stuff, not trying to jump something too big too early and hurt yourself.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, the biggest thing is just trying to skate hard when you're at the park, not
Yeah.
just taking it lightly every time. Like really trying to get it to a point where you're pushing yourself just a little bit, you know.
Like actually breaking a sweat. Like,
Exactly. That's
yeah. It's hard to like skateboarding. You have to have that motivation inside you, or else, because you look at it and you at the skate park and you'll go and there'll be nobody that's like sweaty at the skate park, and there'll be that one dude that's just like sweating and he's like the only dude that's any good. You know what I mean? Like, wow, maybe if you like exert yourself, you could actually be
yeah.
good at skateboarding, you
Unless
know?
it's a summer day and everyone's sweating,
Yeah,
but
right.
but no, no, I'm just joking. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of distractions, and sometimes, like, even though I love skateboarding, I have a lot of other interests,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
so like if you're there, you're going to get involved with other people and their interests, clicking together, maybe start smoking weed. There's a lot of things that can distract you at the park. And I definitely I smoked weed for a while when I got older. But I did it kind of legally with like my license and everything after I turned, of age. I think I was 23 and I broke my forearm
Mm-hmm.
and ended up, trying out some medical marijuana and doing the creams and all of that for a while. But like having someone at the park, and you're hanging out smoking weed instead of doing tricks, like it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to take away from your skating. And then especially after you're 21, then people start drinking at the park,
Right.
and like you know it's like, what are you really there for? So if you go to the skate park and you want to get better, you're going to naturally be like trying to skate more often, avoiding the fights, avoiding all kinds of random stuff. I've had stuff stolen there, helmet stolen there when I was first going to CD player, whole backpack before, so there's all of that. Um, so even getting outside of the skate park though, if you want to get better, you have to go and skate street spots. And because I was always skating to the skate park, not always getting a ride there, I would find other spots and skate them too, and it was just something that I learned through the skate videos too. You're like, all right, this is way cooler than the skate park. All
Definitely.
these, random spots, you just get to go and discover it. And, it's like an adventure.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of skaters that grew up and like really use their skateboard like as a form of transportation and like actually had to skate to places of like
Mm,
school or to the skate park. I feel like those are the dudes that like really kind of got really good because it's like they just had so many more hours actually on their board and
yeah.
having to like push through different terrain and just
hmm
make their way through this town just because they had to. I feel like those are the people that like just got really good.
Yeah. I mean, even in middle school, like I was one of those kids that was like, I have to have my skateboard. And luckily, my mom advocated for me and actually liked that I skateboard and was cool with me not playing soccer and not going to church. But, like, oh, mom, I don't want to go to church. I want to go skate. When I became of age to take the bus alone and all that, she's like, okay, be home at this time, you know, get your chores done, get some allowance, get some Burger King, go skate, come
Yeah,
home. But
like that kind of stuff. Like,
all that like, but yeah, it's like, so you're using it as transportation too, not just like, doing tricks at the skate
for
park
sure.
with your helmet on.
Yeah, I
But
felt that was like pretty sheltered, and like I would always walk home from school. I never even thought about
mm,
skating to or from school. It's
yeah,
weird. Like I
yeah,
don't think I brought my skateboard to school ever.
dang,
But it was just, I feel like
yeah.
my brain wasn't even
What time did you
thinking about
start
that.
skating?
I got my first skateboard when I was like 10, and I didn't,
Okay.
back then, that was 1995. and there was like no
Mm,
exposure to skateboarding, so I didn't know anything about skateboarding. I just had one, like an
yeah.
actual proper skateboard. My parents like
So
found it in an alley. It was just
dang,
like it was a proper like brand new blank, like
that's sick.
I don't remember, it was a proper ass board. Like bearings were fast as fuck, and it was like brand new board.
Dang. You're
But I
like,
didn't.
this is a skateboard?
Yeah, yeah. And I had tons of skateboards, like fat fish boards and like Nash boards, and then I got that
Yeah.
one real board, and then after that I was like, damn, this is sick.
Yeah,
But I just
luckily,
didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know that there
dang.
were ollies. I didn't know that there was. I didn't know you could do anything with it. We used to just ride down the hill,
Yeah,
and
exactly. That's how I
that's all I
found out
did.
in the beginning too. I was like, I seen it and I seen people write it in like, in commercials or random movies like Encino Man.
Oh,
There's that scene with him like,
that's a
or
badass
like
movie.
Brink. Like I
Uh-huh.
watched all those and would ride my rollerblades
Right.
after watching that movie or something, or
Uh-huh.
ride your bike watching there's another one too with some other, but yeah, Ninja Turtles even,
Right.
So you're like, oh, I want a skateboard to ride, and yeah, same thing. Sit down, ride on it, race all the kids down the hill, and then someone learns about skate videos, or I think first was the X Games on TV
Uh-huh.
of like real tricks, like the actual style. Sat down and watched like Tony Hawk land the 900 like within the next year or so.
Right.
Um,
But even back then, they would
all
only
that.
have like, well, they would have X Games, but it would always only be vert, and you like street
Yeah,
skating.
that
Like
too.
there would be
Yeah.
like such little exposure of actual like street skating and popular culture back then. Now it's like
hmm
every time you turn on TV, there's a
Yeah.
commercial with someone doing an ollie on for like
Yeah.
some freaking pharmaceutical commercial or
Yeah.
whatever. Almost every time you turn on TV, there's gonna be someone skateboarding on TV now. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like that.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you kind of had to get lucky and come across someone with the VHS player. Like, you know, like one of my first videos I watched was something that David had. I don't even remember exactly what ones they were. I remember some type of ATM video.
Okay.
But yeah, just stuff that he brought home from skate shop because he had went before I had ever even went. And then
Mm-hmm.
I told my mom, and she's like, "Oh, I know of a skate shop over here, downtown Tivoli,
Uh-huh.
BC Surf and Sports." And then you go in there, you see posters, you see, maybe they have a TV in there and it's playing it in there. And then Image, early days, like I thought I was gonna skate for Image,
I thought
like
you.
as one of my first
I
shops.
almost thought you did skate for Image. You never skated for
Never
Image.
did.
That's
I was
wild.
just always in there and hanging out,
Huh.
and Sean Robinson and them were cool. But like one day I was skating to the shop and I did an ollie and this car came out of the garage and I like hit the car and was on top of the car and he
What?
stopped like right there.
Dang.
And then I like had to scoot off of the edge of the car and this guy like came out all mad because it was like a nice BMW or
Uh-huh.
something. And he's like, "Hey, you hit my car," or something stupid, like didn't care that he just hit me,
Uh-huh.
just yelled at me and I took my board. I'm like, "Screw you," I hit his board. I hit the car with the board, like
Well,
big pig wheels at
damn.
the time, like that were too big for me to ride on.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like having them for like, only like a week or so,
Uh-huh.
and I had to change them out. But it was after that event, like,
Tss.
hitting this dude's car. And
That's
then I went
crazy.
into the skate shop, immediately after, like,
Uh-huh.
asked to use the phone to call my mom. And then I remember like my older homie Cliff was there, and the guy came in after like trying to come get me after hitting his car.
Uh-huh.
And he came in and was like, "Oh, where's that kid? He just hit my car." And I just told them that I got hit by a car,
Uh-huh.
and so they're like, "No, you got hit by the car. He's over there calling the cops or whatever."
Uh-huh.
But really, I was calling my mom,
Uh,
And this guy just
he
like
just bailed
walked out
out.
and left. But yeah. So I spent a lot of time in Image,
Yeah.
watch like the In Bloom, Flip Sorry, like old Bash and Bonzi and
Yeah.
all
It's
that,
such a great video.
Yeah.
And then so you got on 303, and then
Yeah.
um yeah, was that like transitioning
Yeah, I
from
think I met Sam actually up at like the Mills Park, like a few different times, or just around, randomly at like either the park or these different events. And then um I think it happened like after one of the contests up at Mills though, is kind of whereas the first like interest in me skating for 303 happened. So man, I'm gonna need like a calendar and look back at all the years and
a lot of
like
skating?
yeah, it's crazy. But
And you just since you started, you never really put it down, or you just kept skating the whole time, or did you ever
yeah,
have
until I mean, because I played soccer for a long time, and there was times where I went and played on a random league at like 19, for a boys and girls club just to
Uh-huh.
do it
Yeah.
because
It's fun.
I loved it. Or random other soccer homies that maybe played some random pickup games, and I worked with this dude Kurt uh, that I still talk with, and I teach his son a little bit of skateboarding. Um, he actually was like, "Oh, come play with me this indoor spot," after work, and ended up playing with him a few different times, scoring some goals,
Yeah.
like even after not playing for so long, because yeah,
Shit's
me and like
super
Alex and all
fun.
the homies playing FIFA, always, I always loved soccer.
Yeah, it's such a great
But
sport.
yeah, for the most part, I never stopped skating. Just kept going until, having kids will definitely, like, you got a lot of your time and focus there. So it's like more like on the weekends or, a little bit here and there.
So
No all day missions.
where are your kids at right now?
Well, my oldest isn't, they're all in school really until, 3:34.
Oh,
So
okay. But then they
yeah.
just go home and your oldest takes care of them, or
Yeah, I have custody of my oldest son
uh-huh.
since he's been in like first grade.
Okay.
But he's with me during the week, go and see his mom on the weekend, and then I have Lovely and Soul on the weekend, but it just depends. Holidays are different, some days like I'll keep one and the other will go with a relative. Like so some days I get some extra time out there skating.
Your family just help picks
But
up slack and helps with the
yeah,
kids then.
and sometimes there's like kids parties to go to and I can escape. But a lot of times I take my kids with me to the spots too.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, you want to ride your scooter, your rollerblades?
Uh,
Go for it. You're a kid.
yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. Find something fun to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never made my kids skateboard. Like my oldest, he's in high school. He dresses like a skater. I gave him
Uh-huh.
some S pants for Christmas, and he likes those the OG puffy XLs.
Uh-huh.
Like it's kind of funny.
Yeah, but he doesn't
He's got
skate.
some Vans on right now, but yeah, I taught them when they were kids, but I was like, you do what you love to do, find out what you love, and
Never pushed it on him.
support you. Yeah, because then you lose the fun in it. Like, oh, you got to skate because I'm a skater,
Right.
like, and I had to make them go with me to spots when they didn't want to go sometimes
Yeah.
too. So here, play some video games,
Yeah.
but sometimes we'll hit a spot that's at a playground
Mm-hmm.
when I have them,
Right.
or at a school so they
Uh-huh.
can be out,
Run
playing
around.
basketball. Yeah, so there's ways.
And then what other sponsors did you go through besides 303 and
Man,
Thrifty?
so I was on S for a long time, and then when they started to go out of business, I got on DC for like 6 years, and it was just flow, and it was because of that DC King of Chicago contest. Um, Travis Law actually drove me out to Las Vegas, and we went to a street league, like in the early days.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You skated
and to
Street
go
League?
and meet up with Mike Lauder, who was the DC rep at the time,
Uh-huh.
that ended up hooking me up through the contest, and yeah, it was kind of like a talk between them and also 303. They had asked about me too to
Uh-huh.
303, for that King of Chicago time. And so I rode for DC for like 6 years, but just getting flow.
Mm-hmm.
But initially, when they asked me to ride, they're like, "Oh, come out to Las Vegas and we'll buy you tickets to the street league." And I was like, "All right, cool."
Oh, just to watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of cool. Um, it was like a blur,
Yeah.
you know,
So
because it's
much.
so long
Oh,
ago.
time
Yeah,
ago.
so much happens. But yeah, so literally just drove out there one day for that, stayed the night, and then drove back, the next day. And T-Law offered to drive me out there because we were skating a bunch at that time, filming for Rad. Um, yeah.
You still keep in touch with Travis? Talked to him lately?
Every once in a while, I saw him like last summer, him and Davis over at North Glen, 116th,
Okay. That's kind of
Don and Nima.
where he lives. That's kind of his
Yeah.
his park now, basically.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. So, but he kind of like, he's getting older, has some injuries too, so he doesn't skate too hard, too
Right,
well.
right. Yeah. It's fun
Um,
to skate with him though. He's like just
yeah,
skating flat ground and still super good at skating.
I know, natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was on DC for some many years, but it kind of like fell off. It was bad. Like there was times where I wasn't getting shoes, didn't know if I was going to get shoes, didn't even know if I was sponsored,
Mm-hmm.
like for like 3 or 4 years, just from, the guy, I guess, was just not happy there. I think the guy that was sending me shoes and then quit,
Oh,
didn't
didn't
tell him,
tell
and no
anybody.
one told me.
Uh-huh.
And then so months go by and they're like, oh, that guy's been gone. Like he doesn't even work here anymore
Huh.
after somehow figuring out a way to reach someone. And then, so then I was kind of without a shoe sponsor. I was like, forget this.
Mm-hmm.
Went through someone else in Denver, but then it still didn't work out. So I was like, oh, well, let me try some S's again. They just, they had some Excel slim mids. So I got a black pair of those and a pair of Nikes, uh, I got some Dunks and then the Costins. And yeah, I took all three of those with me to the Damn Am Costa Mesa. I had won like a golden ticket at the Colorado Springs contest, like
Uh-huh.
the Rocky Mountain Rampage.
Uh-huh.
And so I flew out there, skated that, um, and I seen Kelly Hart there.
Uh-huh.
And Manny Santiago was announcing too. And I was like, oh, what's up? And
Uh-huh.
I was like, I noticed like Kelly Hart sitting up there too. And
Uh-huh.
then later, I was like maybe warming up with the Nikes, but they weren't skating that well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to put on the S's because I saw Kelly there and heard that he was a TM. So I
Uh-huh.
was like, all right, let me put these on, and
Uh-huh.
ended up doing decently. Ivan Montero had skated it that year, and that was like the first time I ever seen him,
Uh-huh.
met him, and I think he won it that year, but doing like tray flip nose once back then, I think
Damn.
tray flip lip. But yeah, so ended up meeting Kelly afterwards, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you ripped. What's up? Yeah, I'll send you some shoes." And um, kind of was a little back and forth between him and like Don Brown. Like wasn't sure if it was just a one-time thing. And then Jamie, who was the old S rep in Denver, actually started hooking me up again because he was working for them again.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up leaving not long after. And then I kind of went through another guy in-house, guy Sean over there. But really, without like Don Brown, that communication with him, I wouldn't have had really like been getting shoes like for a certain period. Like was just kind of like shoe sponsorless.
And then uh you had other board sponsors too, right?
Hmm.
Or did you
Yeah, a bunch of. So I first ever sponsor that I had went pro for was False Profit out of California.
uh
Um, and kind of through Andrew Smith, he knew this guy Mario who was living out in Cali, started this thing, friends with like Brad Hayes and some other Cali dudes out there, and so kind of made this deal with um, Andrew and I to get boards from him, be out filming, and I had already won the Hometown Heroes contest and was going out for it the second year in a row. I won it again. I skated GVR. I got second in the best trick, third overall for the regular team, and then the regular won.
mm-hmm.
And he announced that day, he's like, "Oh, that I was pro." Like he went and told the announcer, and they announced it over the microphone, and so it was kind of like him trying to surprise me after like doing good in that contest.
Uh-huh.
Skated with pros, and he thought I would, that I should be pro.
Uh-huh.
So ended up getting aboard with him, and then he just kind of had some issues with the company, ended up going under. But so I had that, that was kind of like one of my first board sponsors. And then after that I got on Finesse,
Oh yeah.
and then yeah, with Rod and Steve James,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still doing their thing, but they hooked me up for some years. And um, towards the end after that, kind of just went back to um, just wanted something bigger because they were a smaller brand, like
Is that
not very well known.
is
And
that the Rod James? He was not the Rod James that used to like skate for Status, was it? Or
yeah, I mean,
is that a
they're
different guy?
twin brothers. I'm really bad at the history. I don't know
Uh-huh.
too much. I met them, I think, through some contest too,
Okay.
or something online. But they did stealth headwear too,
Okay.
and um, like they just didn't have like they even did tech deck stuff. They work with tech deck.
Hmm.
Um, I was just like, you grow up, you're like, you want to ride for Girl or Chocolate or
Like a big company.
yeah, a brand that's been around. Flip was like one of my favorites for years.
Uh-huh.
So you're getting sponsored by a brand, and then you sometimes people hate on you depending on what
What
sponsor
brand?
you
Yeah,
have, and it's like
exactly.
it's like, well, I'm just trying to do what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
You know,
for
like
sure.
everyone wants to make it. Everyone wants to get get paid or at least get the free product so that they can skate on some good equipment and which helps you get better
Right.
quicker,
Consistent
you know.
gear. You're not changing boards and
Yeah.
different shapes and different
Yeah. But
companies.
they had some decent boards. They weren't you could definitely tell the difference. You know, it's like even the 303 shot boards were, feeling better, but they went through a lot of stuff. Like I broke 5 303 boards and like within a week one time.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, and so then I got on like primitive years later, just through the skate shop, just found out that Chad was doing that, and he also did Lakai and Girl Chocolate for a long time, but ended up kind of just reaching out. He's like, "Yeah, cool," and I was like, "All right, tight." Sent him some footy and just tried to keep it going. I broke my arm back in 2011, so I didn't skate for like a year.
What part of your arm?
I mean, like I could have skated and I cruised around, but
Just not
I like,
comfortable.
yeah, it's just sketchy,
Uh-huh.
So
Would you have like a
for like a
sling
good
or?
half a year, I really didn't skate at all. But yeah, a sling and then a half cast
Oh, so you're like
because
you can't do
I
shit.
broke both of the forearm,
Oh
like
no.
the radius and ulna,
Uh-huh.
just snapped it
Oh no. So it's
at
all
the Valdez ledge.
flopping in it.
Yeah, I had a long sleeve shirt on though,
Uh-huh.
and so when it broke, it kind of caught, and then
Uh-huh.
it fell down, and then so they cut both sides, put the plates in with like 8 screws, drill it into your bones, and then coming back, I actually skated like fairly well when I came back. That's when I skated Big Civic, because after I broke my arm,
Uh-huh.
um,
The
for
switch hard
the
flip or
yeah the switch hard and switch heel. Yeah, so I think that was probably the biggest break too, of not skating.
oh okay.
For the most that I had ever taken a break was like that 4 or 5 months.
Uh-huh.
And then even when I came back, like you can only do so much and you're worried about it.
Yeah.
Like I remember skating down the sidewalk, hitting a rock or something and fell on my arm, and it was
Just
like the
being like
first
so
fall
scary.
that I've ever had. I'm like the way it tingles,
Oh,
you're just
like
like,
shocks with the metal in there.
yeah,
That's wild.
yeah.
And so
Like a
like
war veteran just came back from war.
definitely, bro. And then so that primitive thing happened, you broke your arm and it kind of fell off. You were just getting
No,
float from
so
them or
that was Element. I had won the Element Make It Count thing when I broke my arm.
oh, okay.
And I was going to go to Tampa with them and skate Tampa Am because I
Uh-huh.
had won like the Hometown Heroes, Make It Count. I had second in the Zoomies Best Foot Forward final. Like I had first in the Vulcan Wild in the Parks in Austin.
Uh-huh.
Like it was a good year.
Yeah, you're
It was the
killing it.
most like contests I had won consecutively, and ended up breaking my arm like after. So I even did sixth place at Dam Am Woodward
Wow.
West first year out there, and yeah, so broke my arm a week before Tampa Am, and then which was the day after Thanksgiving, and they ended up like asking me Element to like, hell, well, do you still want to come out? We'll fly you out and kind of be at the contest. But I had to wait a week to get surgery because they have to let swelling go down. So I waited a week, and then when I got surgery, I would have missed Tampa. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna risk like my arm's broken,
Yeah.
you know,
Uh-huh.
like no plates, nothing holding it together. It's just broken,
Yeah.
and I have to hold it still for a week.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I had like gotten on Element Make It Count for that year because of the contest.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the prize
Oh,
to be
okay.
sponsored. And then after the year was done, they were just like, yeah, we don't want to, we're not going to further do it. But the guy that was sending me boards, Matt, really cool dude. Like he always hooked it up. Like for what it was, what I got while I was there, it was good.
Uh-huh.
But also like just not being down there in Cali doing stuff, I think it makes a huge difference. Like when you're just in the same scene where all of the industry stuff is, like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a big difference like trying to break out outside of California. Even
hmm
still, like it's always been that way, but there's so much of the scene, all the companies are out there. Everything that's happening in skateboarding is in California. If you wanna, like you said, get on Girl, get on Flip, get on like
yeah,
a top tier brand, you pretty much have to be in California unless
yeah,
you're like Josh Kalis or someone who's just
Yeah.
so famous that they could kind of do
Yeah,
whatever they
or
want.
just like your parents, like Ryan Sheckler and people that always had like a skate park in the yard, or just like a supportive family,
Mm-hmm.
mom and dad there,
Mm-hmm.
like all those things. Like there's so many variables that can make or break your skateboarding career.
Right.
From injury to where you live
Right.
to really who you know,
Definitely,
or
that's a
like
huge part
even
of it.
like one thing I probably didn't send in as much footy as I should have.
Uh-huh.
Like I was saying, I didn't film as often. Like I didn't have like a great video camera homie in the very beginning. Like I remember me and my homie got like a high 8 camera, but it was like we didn't have anything to
No,
edit
no
on.
fisheye,
Yeah,
no handle. It's
exactly.
like you can't.
Yeah.
And then back then too is like now you film on anything and send your put your footage anywhere. But back then I feel like, dude, if you didn't have a fisheye and you're not filming like lines like right up close with a fisheye, then like, dude, no one wants to see that footage. Like no one wants to see like footage on some crappy camera. It was weird. Like that people were just like
Yeah.
super picky
Yeah,
about all
true.
that shit back then.
Yeah, very true. So, yeah, I was out there a lot though, trying to like meet someone new. Like over the years, like it's so crazy how technology has changed because we definitely went through like all the, DV tapes and like these
Fire
bigger hunky
wiring and
like cameras to now they're smaller, and even our phones film better sometimes. Like,
definitely.
for at least for like the social media stuff, like you really don't even need for your phone. It's like everyone's looking at Instagram anyway,
Yeah.
so you can just get all your footy on your phone now. Like if we had cell phone cameras, I would have like 1,000 hours of yeah
Hours of footage.
street footage. Like it's kind of funny,
Yeah, definitely.
but yeah. So that helps a lot. I'd say like this generation has it really good for sure. Like
Yeah.
they can go watch any skate video they want on YouTube. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have to buy the VHS tape and rewind it, and hopefully they don't damage it.
Right.
It skips through a little bit, or you know.
Yeah. Slow mo every trick just over and over that
Yeah,
they want to
exactly.
see. Like just have access to all skate history if they want to watch. Some any video like you're saying, any videos out
Yeah.
there. It's not so much luck like
Hmm.
required as it was with our generation where you had to be in the right place at the right time and get the right exposure and meet the right people and
Yeah. I kind of blew it an opportunity too when I was younger. I met Keith Huffnagel, and he gave me a deluxe card, like a business card with a
uh-huh.
number, like send me a tape. And
You,
I like ended up meeting, you remember this? So Sparrow actually filmed me on his camera, and I like nollie back 180 it into like over by the porta potty, that bowl,
uh-huh.
handicap bowl. And he filmed that, and it was like the first time I'd ever nollie back 180 down anything,
Uh-huh.
kind of like, and filmed it.
Uh-huh.
It was like my real first like trick.
Uh-huh.
And then after is all a lot of the DTS stuff, TS, and so on and so forth. But like I was really trying to find someone to film me, and I think his homie Anthony, this other dude that would ollie over all the kids on flat. Remember that dude? He had like twists in his hair, kind of short, black dude. He
Uh,
he rode a fixed gear bike too later on. He was really good, like older dude that was always at D Park. Like all the kids would lay down out of the bank by, the fly out
uh-huh.
by a two shoot,
Uh-huh.
and he was just ollie over like 10 kids.
Huh. I don't
But
remember ever
yeah,
seeing that.
Anthony, he was dope. But like he kind of tried to film a couple things with me, but it was just skate park stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then after is when I really started filming street, was like Brian, all the DTS homies, and that dude Marty for that Mile High VSM. There's like this old dude Daryl back in the day that filmed, but I don't even think he skated. Like, or he like cruised around, but he didn't really like do any tricks or anything. Just other friends of friends that were like helping out with the video camera or
Right.
something back in the day.
And then you
Um,
film with those people and you never see the footage ever again and
yeah,
you
sometimes.
never collect it or
I
never do
mean, we
anything with
did
it.
film the DTS video like that. Like I said, that first one that wasn't a real video, it was just kind of like an edit, like a
Uh-huh.
park edit in a
Mm-hmm.
way. And then it was almost like the warm up for the video. And then we filmed the video, and it was mostly like skater homies. Like everyone in there skated for sure, but that one dude back in the day, Daryl, I think like he just kind of tagged along. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But I remember like watching that video, the Lord's video, the They Don't Give a Fuck About Us.
Uh-huh.
That one was cool. And I was like, that was around that time too, those earlier filming days. where you're just realizing like the level of street skating, and you're just like, dang, all the tech ledge tricks from like Bashan. There's like Louis Python, like the different styles, the European styles. That was cool.
And then so it was finesse, then primitive, and then after that, what was
Yeah,
after that
I mean,
sponsors?
um, there's this company called AD that was going out of, they had a manufacturer out of Longmont, and had a homie, Bryant Chapo, who I had skated with for years through skate contests. Like he had made it out to Zoomies Best of Forward finals. We shared a room, they like pair all the skaters up with different skaters and
Mm-hmm.
over the weekend. And so like he had reached out to me because he was gonna get hooked up with them. And so I had actually met um do you remember the old barracks thing, the watch this segment where like every month he would have like watch this and highlight? It was like the beginning of him highlighting like skaters from around the world that aren't like mainstream skaters,
I
you
think I
know?
remember that.
And so it was like in the beginning it was kind of like watch this. They had the recruit like or battle commander, all those different
Oh yeah, the little
things.
segments.
And so but it was before the newer park too.
Right.
And so he had made this bet for me because I had made it to the barracks through, make it count contest. Like
Mm-hmm.
got to skate the park, film a little edit there, and then they opened the new park afterwards, and we got to skate there over the years. But yeah, it was like, oh, I bet Julian could film one of these every weekend. So then kind of had a good contact with Tristan. Tristan kind of met Steve Barra because of some other shit, and ended up giving us like this challenge of film one of these every month for the watch this segment. And then that's how Andrew actually decided to name his video watch this. Um, and that was filmed around the same time of like the DTS, like right after the HDTS came out, was also filming with Drew. So it was kind of like the same time frame because he also filmed that switch hard flip down Civic from like a slightly different angle. They're all there that day, like all the homies go and um, yeah. So what were we talking about?
Just your sponsors.
Yeah. So Steve Barra was gonna like fly me out there to skate the barracks because I had completed that challenge and I had um, filmed like three the first week and sent them all three,
Mm-hmm.
like within 2 days of Saturday and Sunday, went to like three different skate parks, skated it, filmed it. And then, so he's like, all right, congratulations, emailed and was saying like, you let me know when you're ready to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of talking to him through Instagram and then ended up making it out there, winning like the recruit through Zoomies, like winning that Best Foot Forward contest
Mm-hmm.
in Boston in 2018. And so then he came and took me to dinner and was like, kind of like, saying like, oh, there's this board company that maybe you could be cool with and, might be a good thing for you. And I was getting primitive at the time still.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already went out to France in 2019 or actually, no, next year I went to France. Um, but I was like, I was doing well though. I was still like skating contests, but now with some primitive. And they had sent me some boards after France and were like, do good. So I ended up not making that transition to try to skate for 22 boards. But yeah, this dude Jonathan at 22 was kind of, you know, Barra was working with him and his company.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of fell through the cracks towards the end. And then I had already said yes to skate for them because he had offered to turn me pro.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, just kind of got lost in translation and then nothing ever happened. And then decided, well, I'll go with AD. And then they made me that one board and then they had some issues and then went out of business. you know, uh, business, not everyone succeeds,
Definitely not.
they even say like businesses, usually people's first businesses fail. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
one, two, three businesses fail.
Yep.
But, whatever statistics are, it just didn't work out, got unlucky. And then after COVID happened, I stopped getting boards from Primitive for a year. So, I was like, well, what do I do? I might as well take this, and jump on this board company and turn pro.
Uh-huh.
So I did that,
Yeah.
went down drain. And then Bryant, who had recommended me to AD, had got on another board company, Dakota, and was like, this is a much better company. Like you should do it. And I'm like, why not? Try it again. And because I wasn't getting primitive, I had reached out to try to get some more, but they're already hooking some people up, and budget low because of the pandemic. So ended up jumping on Dakota, and so far it's been good. Just out filming kind of with the same group of homies that I was filming for some footy for the AD part that I would have had. And yeah, so now I have a part with Mao, which will have a lot of that footy, like maybe a couple primitive clips. But yeah, just like from like the past 2-3 years before I dislocated my wrist.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I had Audio Footwear sponsor right before S
Uh-huh.
for like, I want to say like a year or half a year. I got Split clothing for a little bit. I think it was just kind of like one or two time like thing where they gave me clothes. I got a little bit of Zoo York back in the day through Titus,
Uh-huh.
and then and also Element, like a really small flow through this other guy. Um, I'm trying to think what other sponsors. Really, like that was it. Kind of like a lot of like smaller sponsors. Like Tristan had Royal Stain and did some clothing like Neovolt and some other things. So I'd wear a lot of his gear over there and sport his Oka Marble, and he was hooking me up and, film. So it's like, all right, cool. Get out, have some fun again. Known Tree for some years, but he also has kids and like, you know, wasn't like we filmed a lot up to HDTS, but then after that it turned to like Andrew Smith. And then after that it's like, I mean, I would film with a bunch of random different friends here and there. So yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah. So now you're just
There's so much fun.
riding Dakota and S,
Yeah.
and that's it right now. And 303.
Dakota S. I mean, I did get some Bond grip for some years,
Uh-huh.
and then recently Sosa, he's been hooking me up with some grip just because we'd be out skating a lot of the same spots too, and sometimes it's hard. Like you're like asking a sponsor for something,
Uh-huh.
and it's like not as consistent. Um, there's a bunch to it. It's like I have all the kids. Like I had honestly thought about like quitting skateboarding for a while, finding like a much better job, because of breaking the arm, coming back, like skating and then dislocating the hand. Like, so sometimes just with life stuff, like sponsors will fall off,
Yeah.
lose communication with people. And it's like, well, haven't heard from them in a while, haven't got anything. And so I might as well, look for something else. That happens a lot in the skate industry, I feel like.
Yeah.
Other times it's just like, it's like I got some stuff through Skull Candy for a while. They did this locals program, and then after a while, the program just ended, and that was that. But that was for like 2 years. They'd send you like some speakers, headphones, a bunch of random stuff, towels,
Mm.
So
So then Dakota, they turned you pro, and you have what, like one pro board with them right now, or
mhm.
so how does
It's
that
actually,
work?
so we had the first round with like two different graphics,
Uh-huh.
and then those sold out, and then um, on to the next graphic. We have like, so this this one's Chapo's, the bear,
Uh-huh.
and mine is a wolf.
Okay.
But the first graphic was just kind of like some like starburst kind of like colorway,
Uh-huh.
like the cream colors. It had like orange, turquoise, red, and yellow,
Uh-huh.
but just our names.
Uh-huh.
And then there was like one that had a feather like going both ways, and then just your name through it, kind of in the background. You know,
And then so
I'm probably not describing it right, but
how does
yeah,
how does that work? Like you're pro, and you get royalties for board sales, or they just give you
yeah, we're
merch,
just
or
kind of going as kind of like a verbal agreement right now.
uh-huh.
You know, I think just with like new companies, like kind of like before, you don't know if you're going to, do very well. Like me and Bryant, I think we've kind of been skating long enough that there's enough skateboarders that, are like friends and other stuff that also want to help out too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's good with some sales. And obviously, I guess we went through, it's been like not even a year since I've had my board out. So since summer, so so far he just kind of left it open so that there's, because sometimes you could do a contract, like I had signed a contract with AD, but then it just kind of fell apart. At the end, got a little bit of money from them, but it wasn't much, a couple $100. Um, so I really don't know too much about that side of like how sales are, doing. But with Dakota, it seems like everything's got like a good strong base, PS sticks, some good graphics. Like Wes is a good dude. Like me and Brian are really just hoping to like keep it going, as like like most skaters, like we have that dream. You just want to be pro, and like some people want to have like, I mean, like I would like to go and skate Olympics if I could,
Yeah.
you know. But then I also have that family, and
Right.
it's like it's a hard line to decide, like if you're gonna like how long the pro thing's gonna last, like the whole thing. But he kind of left it open just in case, like we get something that leads on another sponsor that maybe actually pay me, you know make the transition a little smoother.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so haven't really done too much contract stuff
Yeah.
there. But
And it's crazy. You're getting pretty old to
yeah,
be,
34,
yeah, to be in the pro
so
scene. Like you said, you got family and just
yeah.
kind of deterrence. You know what I mean? Like you said, you got
Mm,
priorities, and just makes it difficult that you're skating at that level still. After all injuries and
yeah,
after all of your responsibilities is pretty commendable. And you don't see
yeah,
people like skating as hard as you do at your age. So it's
yeah.
awesome to see.
Well, thank you, man. It's good to just have a company that's willing to like help out with like expenses to go into contests, because it makes it, like, yeah, I may not be, Nija or like any like super huge skaters traveling all the time. Like I may not make it in the street league. Like that's a goal of mine and I
Mm-hmm.
want to. But I mean, Brian DeCenzo is like 37 years old, still
Mm-hmm.
out there skating. So if I can, I'll make it there. But yeah, it's still like, when you love doing something, you're not going to give it up for, you know, the circumstances. I have a
Definitely.
family, I'll be there for my family. But, it's like if you love to play a sport or do something and then all of a sudden you just stop, it doesn't feel very good,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And even if like, old football players, they grow up and they have to retire at some point, or, they don't quite make that career they wanted, they could still kind of transition and keep doing what they love to do, either pick up a camera, or they're still out skating. I think there's a lot of skaters like that around the states. Like, end up, you're like, damn, like you're trying to figure out the career move so you can, buy a home one day, or maybe you have kids, or, but you still skate. Like I know a few different skaters with kids that still go out and try to skate contests, or just filming the part with the skate shop. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool to see.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm kind of at that point where um, put as much in as I can, because there's definitely been times where I'm like, just almost thinking about like not trying to skate as hard as you want because you do get hurt,
Definitely.
and you're like, damn, I'm like, should I jump this 12 stair right now?
Mm-hmm.
Or, and then you get hurt on some little 6 stair rail and dislocate your wrist. So,
Yeah.
um, super grateful to just be getting some boards. Like, I've like fulfilled that childhood dream of like having my name on the board. And
Yeah.
so, I'm like, it's given me an extra boost to really try to skate and, be healthier. I've never been much of a drinker, and smoking, like giving that up to help my hand heal. And, with everything in life, there's a battle. Sometimes you start smoking again, or you go and have some drinks after the premiere with all the skaters. I think that's a big thing in the skate industry where you're just like, all right, well, you know, party time now.
Yeah.
So I've definitely just seen it, and just the community. I'm like, I don't want to drink too hard. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to, you know, like say I didn't like quite give up on my dream. And, like I didn't get $10,000 contract every month, and and a shoe yet, but I still see like some opportunities to take it in a different route, teaching kids how to skate, um, what type of business I can skate and kind of help the next generation. Like one of my biggest goals is to help um, with the teaching, like and mentoring, like to figure out better ways that people can have more fulfilling careers and like be able to skate and travel and maybe make it into street league and still have like, you know, their base at home
Mm-hmm.
with kids, work, like, because a lot of it seems like skateboarding, it's like it's hard to figure out how to make money from it. Not everyone kind of, even the good skaters, I'm sure so many pros afterwards were like, all right, now what? Still need to get a job, and you got to figure out that next step. So it's, yeah, but
It's
it's skating, you can't give up what you love
definitely not.
at the end of the day.
And so you have like a little skate school right now, don't you?
Yeah, I was the skate sensei because I grew up doing a lot of like martial arts, and my older sister's dad taught martial arts. I did. I went to Tiger Kim's over off of East Colfax, like
Uh-huh.
Steel and Colfax.
Okay.
Watching Bruce Lee movies and all that. Kind of like P-Rod, Bruce Lee's an inspiration, and so it's like I remember kind of like learning more about philosophy stuff and being like, all right, I'm actually more of a person of philosophy than like trying to fight
Mm-hmm.
with the martial arts. Like I didn't go to the tournaments. Mainly my mom was like, I don't want him to be fighting,
Mm-hmm.
it's more for the self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up like getting into some fights, and I was just like, this isn't cool with me. I'm not really into the whole fighting thing. And so I always liked that about martial arts, with having that like aggressive focus of like performing your craft. Like skateboarding, you're jumping and kicking and doing all these tricks, like rolling around on the ground, jujitsu almost. So
Mm-hmm.
there is technique to catching yourself and not falling and really hurting yourself. So that was kind of like what I added to my whole um, just teaching, mentoring, coaching. So really just hoping to like get back to the younger generation, like just lead them like, all right, stay away from these things, do this, put your feet here a little bit. But also just kind of like one of my students, uh, Charleston, he's with me at D Park, and he's actually really good. Kick flips, heel flips. I tell him to do something and he gets pretty close to it really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I tell him like, do you want to be one of these other guys on the skate park just sitting here drinking, or do you want to really be doing the tricks? Like, do you want to travel? Like, don't get into smoking and all this other stuff. Like, yes, you do have to take care of your body. Don't just come here and eat all these snacks. Like, the all the contest stuff that he should know with like training and thinking about, if he really wants to take it. So yeah, that's kind of like my basis for Skate Sensei, was just to, with a little bit of philosophy in there, and maybe some Bruce Lee quotes.
Yeah.
uh, you know,
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I feel like, you know what I mean? It's cool to see like actually like good skateboarders kind of taking on that role of like mentorship and stuff. I think that's important. Like I feel like it's easy for anybody nowadays to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna start a skate camp or whatever," and
yeah,
it's like, dude, you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? I just don't feel like, you
it's
know.
tough because I battled with that too. Like, I don't want to just be some guy that's just doing it for the money.
Hmm.
Like I actually care about skating, and with like I've had a lot of heartbreak from not being able to pursue my dream the way I envisioned it as a kid. Like, wanted to go to Barcelona and skate street spots and film, and, just get paid to skate really,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of that, like being a kid and not understanding the reality of things. So I definitely want to help other kids to like, all right, I don't want you to like really feel that pain that I've had, because, it just hurts in a lot of other areas of your life, with family, with work. You get into drinking or something, too many drugs, or just, you know, I don't know. I don't want to get too preachy, but it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of people that definitely need it. Like, kids from bad homes, just at the skate park. Like, I, I had a single mom. I didn't know both of my parents,
Hmm.
so I definitely see where a lot of kids are just going there and, not really being into it. So I'm hoping to like, eventually like learn how to like grow the business in a proper way that's going to help skaters.
Hmm.
Um, it's tough though. It's like, I don't want to charge too much. And
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
and then here I am almost like breaking even,
Right.
from trying to help someone else. So trying to figure out like what's the fine line of like really coaching and teaching.
Hmm.
Um, it's a trip.
Yeah, it's a benefit though. I mean, like I said, I feel like if the it's good if the right people do it. Like you don't want someone like teaching you and they're like you don't want to learn from people that aren't really good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like you have to be skilled enough to be able to actually give some kind of practical lessons to people in a way that they could really consume it. And
Yeah, there's
like
some levels for sure for like different type of coaches, like
right,
where
right.
you should like change and find a different coach.
Yeah, and
You know.
that's that. Like I said, that's just about the industry evolving, where that was unheard of, and it was never anything that was ever existed. 10, 5, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's just as the industry evolves, like there could be more opportunities to make skateboarding more a part of your living, and besides just
Mm.
like actually like hucking and filming and competing and meeting sponsors
Mhm.
demands. You know what I mean? So you know it's cool what you're doing. I think that's sick. And
Thank you, man.
yeah, I hope you can get some more kids under your wing. And
Yeah, I got some ideas like building the YouTube channel, trying to figure out how I can not just have it like, oh, here, come watch me skateboard and like my video and subscribe. Like, what kind of value am I really going to bring, you know? And really, so it has to be some type of education.
hmm
All I can do is just talk about my experiences and try to give back in a certain, way that will hopefully help some other kids, whether it's just like helping you to learn how to do the trick or, getting you through some life stuff that, you can still skate and like sometimes people reach out to me with like, oh, come do this commercial or, um, random little things, sponsors you probably wouldn't expect. Like, nowadays, like you can get a sponsor for almost anything,
hmm
you know? So like getting into like even fitness, like, realizing like I was always a skinny kid. Like the more push-ups you do, you catch yourself better and you're falling, you can actually take a hit more.
hmm
So I think there's like skateboarding is going in a crazy way. There's definitely some good resources like popping up everywhere for like skaters these days to learn.
Yeah,
And
definitely. And yeah, it's like not when we were growing up, it was kind of just more frivolous and just everyone kind of just did whatever they wanted to and like didn't never thought about like the consequences of the stuff that we are doing outside of skating, how it
yeah,
would affect our skateboarding life.
yeah,
And then I feel like a lot of people now, like especially a lot of pros, like you watch them, they have whole ass workout routines, like they're
hmm,
actual
yeah, like me,
pro athletes, like they're training to
exactly.
skateboard, and like we never did that. We never
Yeah,
thought about
I
that.
know, and it's funny because there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, that's not street or whatever. That's not real skateboarding."
Hmm.
But it is what it is. It's like art. Everyone does different art, and everyone's gonna like have it a different way. And it is cool to have the actual like it is a sport and it's an organized sport because look, it's in the Olympics,
Hmm.
And when you're a kid, you even dream about all that. You're like, all right, I'm going to the Olympics one day. Like, you play the video games and it's kind of like one of those things. Oh, you're favored by the gods. That's
Yeah.
what one of my homies say. If you make it to the Olympics, you're
Yeah.
favored by the gods.
Yeah, I
But
would say so.
but it's cool because you get to see people actually being able to like have it as a career, not just struggling to get by. You know, spending all your money to go out to the contest, maybe not even win, and it's just an expense. And especially when you have a family, like it's hard to go out and travel when you have just different bills, clothing, kids growing out of clothes, food, and then inflation, all this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It definitely is a trip. Like, you know, it's hard work.
Yeah, it's a struggle, bro. And like I said, for to do it this long at that level is, especially like I said, with your all of your family situation is it's wild. Like it's not an easy task. Not like I said, not many people are doing it. People quit for way more frivolous reasons
Yeah,
than you have to focus on just doing other stuff too. So it's shows a lot of dedication, determination. So I mean, that's what people look up to. I think is like, yeah, you can skate, but like that's what I looked up to. I'm like, dude, this
yeah, I
guy,
appreciate it,
he's
man.
an older dude, and he just kept going, and still ripping and still producing and still taking care of his shit is like that's not an easy thing. Like
Yeah, I mean,
skateboarding's
waking up
not easy to do that.
waking up and trying to make sure you stretch right, foam rolling, like a lot of those things help out a lot. I mean, even down to like, I mean, I eat a lot of organic food too,
Hmm.
and even that, like, you want to live healthy, it definitely costs more too,
Yeah,
which is a trip just to like grow up and realize that. But you're like drinking out of the garden hose when you're a kid, like all the things that are kind of toxic. And
yeah,
if you're relating that back to like you doing an activity, physical activity, like you're gonna feel it,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Not drinking like so many years, like I probably did not drink enough water at the skate park and
Uh-huh.
in the sun all day, no sunscreen, no
Yeah,
lotion, like
yeah.
like definitely bad nutrition there, eating a lot of airheads and junk food when your parents aren't looking,
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it definitely you'll realize it even if you're not like a huge drinker and smoker as you get older, you definitely have to stay on top of the fitness part.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. It's like you just start like degenerating, you know what I mean? And it's like just so easy to just fall apart, you know? And the more messed up stuff you do, the longer you do it for, it's like shit starts catching up to you. And yeah, it
Yeah.
makes everything super fucking hard.
You know?
Yeah. Um, yeah, what else? Pretty much like that's, I don't know, you caught pretty much all the way up. Is there anything else like anything else you want to say? Shout out to anyone or
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, really shout out to all the homies. They know who they are, the people I talk to all the time, the people that I maybe don't see all the time. If I've seen you at the park and I don't really know you, it's up to you too. If you're a skater, I mean, probably mostly all skateboarders listen to this. Couple random people's grandparents, but um, really, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. So I would just say, like, just take care of your family. Make sure you're still doing something that you like to do occasionally. Try to be healthy. But I mean, everyone has different beliefs and everything. So really just, shout out to everyone on earth,
yeah.
you
Hell
know,
yeah.
but
Yeah, man. I
yeah,
think if you're ready, I think we could wrap it up, bro. I think it was a pretty good chat, man. Thank you for coming on.
yeah,
Like, I appreciate it.
probably said some, I definitely forgot like what I was, like lose track of shit. I'm like, oh, what was I saying?
That's all right. There's a lot of
uh,
like an hour and a half, I think
yeah,
we've been chatting, so
yeah.
that's a lot of information. And then if you want to catch more of what Julian's got going on, you can follow him on Insta. It's like just at Julian Christensen, right?
Yep, just my name, Julian Christianson, and then uh, got a website coming soon that'll just be julianchristiansen.com.
Okay,
Keep
cool.
it simple, have some more of my like teaching, mentoring stuff on there. Just trying to provide some more, help for skaters eventually, and yeah, so check me out there.
And then
YouTube.
you have your skate. If they want to get some lessons or whatever, where they can find you at.
Yeah, so I kind of have it on ClassPass right now.
Hmm.
Um, they would help like find other people. You can check me out on there or really just hit me up through Instagram. Just send me a message. If even if you just need help with anything, little tips. Like I'm always sending messages or helping people through Instagram, just in that way. But yeah, just kind of reach out and figure it out. We'll link up.
Yeah, sounds sick, bro. Well, thanks for coming on, bro. It
Yeah,
was good
thank you,
chatting
man.
with you, man.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, it was fun hanging out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Uh, if you guys came in late and you want to check out the VOD, check out the YouTube channel. We'll post this, upload it there, in the next couple days.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh,
We'll edit out all the parts where I fucked up.
now we'll probably just run it raw unless there's something
We're
that you
like,
want us to edit
guy
out.
high? Is he drunk right now? Like, no, I'm just a little sick. I'm tired.
Yeah, it's those glasses, bro.
Oh yeah. Well, sunglasses. I'm always driving all the time. Like, well, yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you
tuning in,
guys.
guys.
Yep. Check us out tonight. I think we're gonna have another live stream. I don't know what we're playing yet. And then check us out. What else we got going on this week? Anything else, Willie?
Tournament tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Smash Brothers Ultimate Tournament
Oh
tomorrow,
yeah.
7 o'clock. And
Darkest
then
Dungeon on Wednesday with Chad being able to screw up a game.
okay, yeah, Darkest Dungeon on Wednesday. Is that during open hours or? after close?
It might be like the last hour that we're open or so late.
Okay, yeah, so late night stream Wednesday, and then yep, back to hopefully we get another guest for another podcast on Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you, Julian, again for coming in, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.
I'm gonna raid Dr. Eggy speedrunning the Crash tag team.
Okay, yeah, all right, we're gonna raid Dr. Eggy's stream, Crash Team Racing. So enjoy that, everyone. Have a
Dope.
good evening.
Yeah.
Cheers, man. Thanks again, bro.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Probably embarrassed myself a little bit.
That's okay.
But,
Well, as long as
hey.
you're okay with it. Did you want another water? You want to grab some?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, grab whatever you want out of there.